The last thing I want to share with you in regards to variables is about interpolation. Interpolation is a way that you use the value of a variable as part of the name of the selector or property. It's kind of like slotting a value into other values. You basically define the variable in the same way, but when you reference it, you use slightly different syntax. It's going to look something like this. You'll use the hash mark followed by the curly braces, and then you just say the variable name, and then you'll specify the curly braces again. Let me show you how we can use this. My starting file is similar to what we've been working on before. The only real difference is that my 3 boxes now are exactly the same. They just contain an H3 and then some text. My starting SASS file, again, is something that you're familiar with. The only real difference is that on the box declaration, I've removed all of the specifics for the 1, 2, and 3 boxes. So I've just defined some settings for box, and then I have a declaration for H3. This is what our page currently looks like in the browser. We're going to use interpolation to modify this page slightly. And just like when we talked about some of the other concepts, interpolation is going to be more useful with some of the things that we haven't covered yet. But I want to show you what it is so you're familiar with it. So here's a simple example and how we can use it. I'm going to create 2 new variables. My first one is going to just be BG, and I'm going to make its value equal to background. Then I'm going to add another variable, and this one I'll call stroke, and I'm going to make its value equal to border. Now down in our box declaration, so what we're going to do here is we're going to replace background with one of our variables, but we need to use interpolation so that it works correctly. If I simply just put the $sign and then put BG-color and tried to save this, you can see that it's no longer giving us the background color. It's ignoring our CSS because it doesn't understand what this property is. If we take a quick peek at the CSS file, you can see that that particular declaration is simply ignored. It does not know what to do with it because it doesn't understand what BG-color is. In order to use this within our project, we have to use interpolation. So I'm going to create a hash mark, I'm going to open my curly braces, and then I'll put the name of the variable, and then we'll close the curly braces, and then we'll have -color. Now if I save this and we look in the browser, you can see that the background color does come back. So what we're doing here is we're replacing the word background with the use of our variable BG. If you're writing this a bunch, this can save you some time. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the same interpolated value down here for the background color on my H3s as well. And again, it just is going to show up in the exact same way. If we save, nothing on our page has changed so far. We're going to now create some borders around the boxes. So again, I'm going to use interpolation to be able to do this. I'll use the hash mark, I'll open the curly braces, and I'll write the name of the variable. In this case, it's going to be stroke. And let's do stroke color. So this will allow us to specify just the border color. And I think I'm going to actually create another variable for a tertiary color. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to use the yellow color that we used elsewhere as a variable. So back down here, I'm going to make my border color equal to the variable of tertiary color. And finally, I'm going to set my border style as well. Hash mark, open the curly braces, we'll write the name of the variable stroke, and then we're going to put -style, and we'll just set this to solid. If we save and go look at this in the browser, you're going to see that I get an error message, and that's because I mistakenly made a spelling error. Oh, somehow I must have not created my variable for stroke. I thought I had created that, but it seems to be gone. So let me just set this again, and I'm going to define the variable as stroke as equal to border. So now if we save and we refresh, you can see that I get a yellow border around all of the boxes. You may not find uses for variable interpolation right away, but this is something that might come up, so I wanted to show it to you so that you would be familiar with it. And since it does have to do with variables, I thought it would be appropriate to add it into our course at this point.